Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on here. It is a Tuesday night, the 23rd day of April, and 2024 being the year for future reference. 11:10 p.m. on the East Coast. It makes it 9:10 throughout the central portion of the state. 8:10 up in the mountains and in the Pacific. 7:10. So, or is that right? 8:10, 9:10, 10:10, 11:10. Yeah. All right. I wasn't planning on doing that, so it wasn't in my head. It just kind of popped in there. I was going to do a live last night. Something happened. I wasn't able to do it, and instead of just I'll just go ahead and do it instead of doing what I had planned. The last time I did that, I ended up announcing I was running for president and started my own political party, and that was a whole unnecessary brouhaha. So this time I said, okay, I'm just going to cancel. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, actually Sunday night, the night before last, one of the things I wanted to talk about was General Mike Flynn. And, the title of tonight's episode is Neither One of Them Will Be President. Neither Biden nor Trump will be president. That is my prediction for this coming year. And instead of me babbling on here, I do want to say hi. I do want to say thank you. I do want to say thank you for clicking on. Thank everybody in the chat. Thank everybody for leaving comments, for likes, shares, subscribe. Please do all of that. It is greatly appreciated. I'll promo the fact that my friend Mel is going to be on with me Thursday night. We're going to start probably around 7:30. It will be the NFL Draft Extravaganza. Now, there are those that are having draft spectaculars, draft specials, all different kinds of things. A lot of people covering the draft. ABC's covering it. ESPN's covering it. Pat McAfee Show's covering it. NFL Network's covering it. And of course, we're covering it. Only we're going to do it different than anybody and everybody else. Actually, I may come on with an episode tomorrow night and give my mock draft ahead of Thursday night's show. So again, Mel will be here with me Thursday. It will be a lot of fun. If you know nothing about the NFL draft, this will be the perfect place to be that night. And if you are an avid NFL fan, stop in and say hi. Let us know who your favorite team is, and we'll talk about it. So, all that being said, let's jump right into this. The title: Neither one of them will be president. Neither Biden nor Trump will be president. And let's take it to the Twitter scroll, the bookmarks on the X. Mike Flynn. Assassinations are not off the table, okay? Question mark. In a QAnon space, Flynn uses variations of assassinate 9 times in a 60-second period. He's talking about Trump assassination on Charlie Kirk's podcast. Any of these that you watch, if the host does not bring up assassination, Flynn does. And he's trying to put it into people's minds that it's going to be the left that are going to do it because they're afraid of Trump. They're not afraid of Trump. The left is not going to do it. It would be crazy for the left to do that. They know that. All it would do is make Trump a martyr. It would incite the MAGA, the MAGAs, the MAGA for life, whatever. It would incite them, and the left does not want or need to do that, so they're not going to do anything to Trump other than put him in jail, possibly, but that's not an assassination. No, that the reason Flynn would carry out such a thing not himself, but the reason he would see it as a very good thing, as we're going to talk about in just a minute, it's not just Flynn. The reason he would see it as a very good thing is, well, of course, it's all about power, and Flynn sees himself as taking over the MAGA, QAnon, whatever. And in order to, why would they want that? Well, why did Brutus and the other senators kill Caesar? It's always about power. And in this case, Trump is, if you're a Trump supporter, I apologize, but I'm just laying the truth out here. Trump is a liability. You're seeing the Republican Party turn incredible, make an incredible turn, which will show even the Senate minority leader McConnell. But anyway, it would be good it's the only hope really for some of these MAGA people. If Trump goes down, they're going down. And that explains some of the desperation you possibly see in some of these political candidates. So I'm not saying that Trump's going to be unalived. I'm saying there are people talking about it, and it's not who you think it might be. Mike Flynn will say this, but nothing about the fact Ivan Raikin and AJ Alex Jones called for the assassination of President Trump, and they are in the camp with Flynn. And this Republican says people need to wake up and see the truth for what it is. From day one, Mike Flynn and his cohort's main goal has always been to sabotage President Trump. He is an incredible liability to them. And here's what Alex Jones has to say. You can hear it in his own words.
And it's not that the attacks I've been through. I'm so sick of fucking Donald Trump, man. God, I'm fucking sick of him. But I'm not doing this because it's like I'm kissing his fucking ass. It's like I'm sick of it. I'm just going to say it, but I wish I never would have fucking met Trump. I wish it never would have happened. And it's not that the attacks I've been through. I'm so sick of fucking Donald Trump, man. God, I'm fucking sick of him. But I'm not doing this because it's like I'm kissing his fucking ass. It's just like I'm sick of it.
Okay. What you hear online and in the mainstream media is not always what is said off air, as that was meant to be there. Okay. I said neither one of them are going to be president. Here you see Biden, as he's done numerous times before. I don't document every single one of them, but I got to point it out, man. The guy goes to shake hands with somebody that's not there, and then he stops and salutes, points, and for everybody that's like, okay, you see this all the time. You see this all the time in the media. Biden proposes this, or Biden is considering that. Look, watch this guy, all right? And don't buy into the narrative, oh, he's sharp as a tack. No, come on. Use your eyes. Believe your eyes. This guy's toughest decisions are, can I get to the bathroom in time, and what flavor ice cream are we having? And there are a lot of people that think we are all too stupid to look with our own eyes and understand this guy's not making the decision. So who is? It's not going to be much longer. My theory is that they got to prop him up just a couple of more months until the Democratic National Convention accepts the nomination. It's taken out of the people's hands, the delegates' hands, and the decision who the presidential candidate is goes to the Democratic National Committee. Once Biden takes the nomination and then decides that he's just not up to 4 more years, and that's the way it takes Harris out of the picture as well, because whoever the replacement presidential candidate is, and it's not going to be Harris, whoever the replacement presidential candidate is, he will pick his own vice presidential candidate, and he will be Gavin Newsom, in my opinion. So, who could hop into the Republican race real quick if Trump is suddenly taken out and they want to stomp the MAGA out? Mitt Romney. Show you something here coming up in just a minute. Here's a little bit more news. Breaking an hour ago, the U.S. Senate has approved a bill banning TikTok in the United States if ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok, refuses to sell. The FBI director has reminded us that we are increasingly concerned about the potential for some kind of coordinated attack here in the homeland, meaning the United States, which may be not that different from what you saw against the concert hall in Russia a few weeks ago from ISIS-K. We talked about this for about a week and a half now. We announced it the night it came out, and the FBI director is just reiterating it. So that probably means the chatter has not died down, that they are still expecting something significant to happen. Again, the NFL draft's coming up Thursday night in Detroit, a mega live event with a massive crowd. Hopefully, too big of a crowd to be considered for a sleeper cell attack. But we've got all this chaos going on various college campuses around the country. Prime soft targets for potential attacks, such as happened in Russia at the concert hall, as mentioned by the FBI director. Secret Services held meetings and have started planning for what to do if former President Trump were to be held in contempt in his criminal hush money case, and Judge Merchan opted to send him to short-term confinement. So, I think everybody's probably anticipating that at some point Trump's going to, lose control and just let it all out, and will find himself in probably 3 days, probably held for contempt for 3 days, 72 hours in jail, and the Secret Service is getting ahead of the game and have started planning for when that happens. I'm sure there's also plans just in case he is found guilty and is sentenced to prison for a few months, like Peter Navarro and some of his other associates. If that were to happen, Trump will probably go to a military prison where it'll be a whole lot easier to keep him as secure as possible. Some more stories that popped up. Marjorie Taylor Greene's pro-Putin stance isn't popular in North Georgia, but she's being widely praised by Russian state TV while trashing the United States. MTG is betraying our country. This poster posts, as someone who fought for our nation, I'm beyond words. So much for being America first. And let's listen to what Russia...
Требует отставки.
Hey, let me turn that down a little bit. Her voice is loud and annoying. Let me turn that down a little bit more in case she's the only one talking here. Here's what Russia thinks about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Спикера за предательство интересов республиканцев. И наоборот, на CNN внезапно полюбили спикера Джонсона, а всех его противников назвали агентами Кремля, которые используют риторику Путина. Смотрите.
Марджори Тейлор Грин заявила, что будет добиваться отставки Джонсона из-за голосования.
Марджори Тейлор Грин, которую ты показал, красотка, один из немногих членов Конгресса США, который старается выглядеть как человек в старомодном смысле этого слова, блондинка, ходит в белых пальто с меховым воротником, демонстративно гетеросексуаль, свидетельствующего о нормальности. Вся эта медийная махина американская объявляет его мгновенно сторонником теории заговора и придерживающимся ультраправых взглядов.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is proposing for the U.S. to withdraw from NATO. She believes that Americans should help Putin win.
There you go. That's what Russia thinks of Marjorie Taylor Greene. We leave it up to you to think for yourselves, as always. This was uploaded to the internet mysteriously back in the 1990s and highlighted to this particular poster by former 1981-84 ISCOM head U.S. Major General Albert Steubenbein as a post of interest with the mention of Kingsman, Arizona. We're going to start hearing more about this. This might even make it into the corporate media. Kingsman, Arizona, 1953. What this is a list of UFO bodies allegedly in the possession of the United States government, and the number of bodies retrieved, the site that they were retrieved from, and the dates that they were retrieved. Here's 20 May 53, Kingman, Arizona, one body was retrieved. We're going to hear more about that coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And I've had conversations. I've had spiritual conversations with people, and in the past few days, or conversations revolving around spirituality and religion, and I've been incredibly disappointed in what some people accept as Christianity. And then I saw this today, and it just I had a little bit of hope. This is a rather conservative pastor.
Some of you bring politics into the church. You think that politics is spiritual stuff. Politics is of this world. You think it's your duty to be political about this, that, and the other. No, your duty is to serve the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Don't be talking to me about my spiritual responsibility to vote. I don't have a spiritual responsibility to vote. I have a civic privilege. Don't be telling me that voting is spiritual. See, that's what happens when you don't read and pray. When you don't read and pray, you say, wow, there's a Bible out now that includes the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Isn't that wonderful? No. No, it's disgusting. It's blasphemous. It's a ploy. Are you kidding me? Some of you are so encouraged by that. Let me tell you something. The gospel is not an American gospel. It is the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ.
All right. And you can find the rest of that on the internet. It is lighting up. Again, as a professed Christian, as a retired pastor, the separation of church and state is vital. What if the dominant religion is Muslim? Is that the law you want to live under? the separation of church and state is vital to every faith. Just something to think about. Okay, something a little lighter here. We're heading towards the Olympics 2024 in Paris, France, as long as it hasn't burnt down and been totally destroyed by then. They get some internal conflicts going on, have had, and will continue, I'm sure. But nonetheless, they're preparing for the Olympics. The world is preparing for the Olympics, and something just not as deep as the subjects we've been on this far tonight. This is, let me get his name right. This is Tyson DuPont, and this is what it looks like when someone is throwing the hammer, an Olympic event. I did that killer intro, and then I didn't have the production set up. Here we go. This is what it looks like when somebody's throwing the hammer at a world-class level. And practicing in the rain, if you did not notice that. Yeah, he threw that. He threw that completely and totally out of sight. Look for DuPont to be doing that again in Paris again, as long as there can be a safely. As long as the Olympics can be conducted safely, it will be underway here in the summer, coming up in just a couple of months. The Kingman crash, Arizona, 1953. This is some original footage. It's about 7 minutes long, so I'm not going to play all of that because I've got another shorter thing I want to play coming up. I mentioned Mitch McConnell. I mentioned how the Republicans are suddenly regretting listening to Trump, as if I think they've all seen the poll numbers. I think they've all seen what's coming, and a lot of them are going to try to stick their finger in the holes in the dam. We all felt the border was a disaster. I'm quoting McConnell here. First, there was an effort to make law which requires you to deal with Democrats. Something that used to be necessary at all times, but now it's whoever's in power does what they want, and the other side, too bad you lost. That's not good for America. We all felt the border was a disaster. First, there was an effort to make law which requires you to deal with Democrats. Then our nominee for president didn't seem to want us to do anything at all. So I'll play just a couple of seconds of Turtle.
We all felt the border was a complete disaster, myself included. And Chad, you remember covering the phases we went through. First, there was an effort to make law, which requires you to deal with Democrats. And then a number of our members thought it wasn't good enough. And then our nominee for president didn't seem to want us to do anything at all. That took months to work our way through it. So we ended up doing the supplemental that was originally proposed, which dealt with not all problems. It didn't solve the border problem, but
he's speaking about the spending. They did not add any money for the border. That's your United States Congress at work, and the impact that a former president has on a particular section of a particular party, at least for the moment. Again, I think we're going to see I got another little Marjorie Taylor Greene thing here to show you coming up. The 1953 Kingsman, Arizona UFO crash referenced a video of probably the most well-known of the Kingman insiders, Bill Unhaus. Unhaus said he might have collaborated with a recovered live non-human entity, an NHI, from the crash. I'll let you judge for yourself.
Back in 53 or 50.
The guy sounds pretty credible to me, but yet again, he could have made the whole thing up. You listen and judge for yourself.
As I watched the reason why I'm saying this is because the simulator wasn't actually functional until around 1958, where the simulator was actually operable. The simulator that they used, or the craft that they used to build, which is a 30-meter one, was the one that crashed in Arizona, Kingman, Arizona, back in 53 or 52. I think it was 53. That's the one they used. That's the first one that they took out to the test site. It was a controlled craft, that the aliens wanted to present to our government, or the USA. It landed about 15 miles from which used to be an Army air base, which is now a defunct Army base. I forget. I can't recall the name of it. But that particular craft, there were some problems with, number one, getting it on the flatbed to take it up to Area 51. They couldn't get it across the dam because of the road. It had to be barged across the Colorado River at the time, and then taken up to where people go now, up 93, out to Area 51, which was just being really constructed at the time, and taken down those dirt roads and out to that particular area of the test site. There were 4 aliens aboard that thing, and those aliens went to Los Alamos for basically, it was a sort of a test thing. They set up the Los Alamos with a particular area for those guys, and they put certain people in there with them, people that were astrophysicists, just general scientists, to ask them questions. The way the story was told to me was there was only one of them that would talk to any of these scientists that they put in the lab with them. Only one of the aliens. The rest wouldn't talk to anybody, or even have a conversation with them. First they thought, it was all, ESP, or, what do I want to say?
Telepathy?
Mental telepathy. But, most of that is kind of a joke to me, because they actually speak, maybe not like we do, but they actually speak and can converse,
There you go. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. If you are watching at your convenience, if you're watching live, let me know in the chat if you so desire, or you leave it a comment. Russia's moving tactical nukes. They've moved multiple tactical nuclear missile systems to the border with Finland. Russian Deputy Defense Minister Timur Ivanov was arrested today for taking bribes. He will be falling out of a 5-story window here very soon. Marjorie Taylor Greene just announced that she doesn't think Trump will win. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene and Republicans are now panicking about Trump's cognitive abilities. And this was on Alex Jones. It's just a real quick little clip.
Problem, Alex. Most of my Republican colleagues, everybody in Washington, D.C., all of the political consulting class, they're angry at me. They're saying, oh, we need to wait till after Trump wins the election. Oh, we're going to fix all this stuff next Congress. Alex, I'm not so sure that Trump is going to be able to win the election. This is
okay. There you go. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm talking to Alex Jones. So it's not like it's something, she was trying to hide by being on a podcast like mine. Trump is, he's, when he talks to his diehards, that it doesn't matter. Everything he says is the gospel. But more and more people are just saying, okay, you got to be pretty insecure to be hanging on to this and not be able to at least acknowledge that, maybe this guy isn't who I thought he was all the time. Each and every day on the internet, we see people coming out saying, okay, no, they don't say I'll never vote for a Republican again, which I'm glad, because we need at least two parties in this country. And, they don't say that. They just say, no, I will never vote for Trump. Trump called on his supporters today to show up at the steps of the courthouse and protest this atrocity. And these guys, according to the framing we get, there's only two people there. Let's listen to the dialogue one time.
Donald Trump said that a lot of people were come here to support him. We're going to take a look, see how many people are here. We're expecting there to be a lot of Trump supporters,
right?
Yeah.
It's a big day.
We are here outside the day 5 of the Trump hush money trial here, and there are twos of supporters here of Donald Trump. 1, 2 supporters here supporting Donald Trump. Big turnout, as we were expecting. As Donald Trump promised, there'd be a lot of
people here to show their support. So 1, 2,
and both of these are, I believe, Asian. Not that matters specifically, unless you know about the connection for funding at a place called Freedom Corner, but that's a different episode.
Oh wait, sorry, 3.
3.
That guy's a support too.
Him too. So 3 and 4.
4.
4.
How many are there? 4, 5.
1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5. Is that a good compromise though? 5.
Yeah, we need to change our previous statement. There are not just 2 Trump supporters here. Apparently, there are 5
Trump supporters.
So it's massive turnout.
Honestly, I see 4, but I'm willing to compromise a little bit on it.
I see the 3, and maybe that is 4. But I think that guy is. I don't think he's Trump supporter. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
So there you go. Not all it was cracked up to be, or not that all it was made out to be, far and away. Trump said hundreds and hundreds of people, and they were all corralled in, and they couldn't get to the courthouse steps. That's why it looked the way it did. North Korea has issued a nuclear warning signal to the United States and South Korea. They tested one of their rockets and the necessary capsule for a pretty significant warhead over this past weekend. Federal Trade Commission just banned non-compete agreements, and that is per a More Perfect Union. This is significant. Okay, like when I worked in radio, there were some radio stations that you signed a contract, and if you left that radio station, you could not go to a radio station in the same market. It was a non-compete clause. So banning those are going to make things really interesting. Okay, Tucker Carlson probably had a non-compete clause. You may hear him talking about it here in the next day or two, and you may see him getting hired somewhere in the next day or two. Mitt for president, says Adam Kinzinger. I mentioned what would happen if my prediction is true, and if because I didn't say, I said neither one of them would be president, and I did not say Trump would be unalived. He may just incredibly lose. But if something were to happen, if the plan is to try a violent takeover and make Trump a martyr and an inflection point for sparking violence within the United States, and that did not happen, well, somebody's going to have to run on the Republican side, and I think you will see what Adam Kinzinger is saying here, former Congressman Kinzinger and former veteran, and he's not a former veteran, he's still a veteran. What happened here? Okay, here we go. Romney's quote, I think everybody has made their own assessment of President Trump's character, and so far as I know, you don't pay someone $130,000 not to have sex with you. Pretty basic point in this whole thing. While semantics are being argued over whether it was, just a bad accounting entry, or whether this was, a legitimate business transaction between a client and an attorney. Actually, it all comes down to you paid somebody $130,000 to be quiet about having sex with you, and that's on top of what you paid them to have sex with you. So, and that's while your wife was home with your newborn. That's why Mitt Romney has a problem with the character of the Republican candidate, and that's why I question the vehement Christianity that supports such character or lack thereof. It's not scriptural for sure. Anyway, we may have more on that. I may start doing a Sunday morning episode just dealing with what Christianity actually is, things like that. And finally, I like to do dog stories, as everyone knows, and I like to end on a lighter note. Unfortunately, tonight's last story is Throwflame, the robot dog, Terminator. And it's a real nifty look. Look at that. Jeez, scared the crap out of me. It's a real nifty looking robot. Of course, robot with a robot dog, and it's got a laser, very nimble. And just imagine yourself trying to hide from whoever you're trying to hide from, whatever force may be overcoming your particular area. And you hear this tick, 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 tick coming through. And it's this little laser guided robot dog. You can see it can obviously transmit light for filming as well to activate the camera. And then all of a sudden, boom, the robot dog turns into a portable, massive flamethrower. You can see it. It shoots while moving. Now, who had robot dogs with flamethrowers on their bingo cards? You are going to win tonight. Thank you for hopping on here with me, for clicking on. We will be back. like I said, Thursday is draft extravaganza with me and my buddy Mel. If you are not a major football fan, this might be the place for you to hang out that night. And we'll be back on Friday night. As of right now, Chris, my buddy Chris, will be back on Friday night. We'll talk about what's going on in the world. But again, trying to keep it under 45 minutes, and it looks like I'm going to do that. So thank you very much. I'll hop over to the chat and say hey to Not Going Away, Lori Arnold, and Nancy McMonarch. Yeah, but I'm. My theory is Biden is not going to be the nominee, Nancy. Biden's not going to be the nominee. And my theory is Gavin Newsom will be the nominee. But we've got plenty of time to talk about all of that. Well, Nancy, there are going to be a lot of people. If Trump's on the ballot, there will be people voting for him. It's not going to be anywhere like what he has convinced himself it's going to be, and they're preparing for election fraud and election interference again, putting his former daughter-in-law in the leadership of the Republican National Committee. When he did that, that was the point where Republicans really started to pull back, and some Republicans that are running on Trump's coattails are going to get bit in the butt in these primaries coming up in the states remaining, as well as potentially in the general. And again, we got a lot of time to talk about that, and we'll be doing that here, as well as current events, as well as occasionally some jokes and some fun episodes. And I appreciate y'all, sincerely do. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, and I love you all almost as much as chocolate chip cookies, which is an incredible amount, believe me. I got Oakley, I got my daughters, I got a couple other things above chocolate chip cookies, but you all are right there with chocolate chip cookies. And I love my country, but I fear my government. And it is a dark world. Do try to be a light. This has been Eyes Open on the American Doofus channel.